Hey, so we're here at the Alberta Recovery Conference in Calgary, a conference attended by over 1,000 people, a lot of optimism in the room, a lot of positive thinking, focused on what they're calling the new Alberta model, focused on recovery and treatment, and standing in very stark contrast to what's going on in my home province of British Columbia, where they just like handing out hard drugs like candy on Halloween. So we're gonna go try to chat with some of these people, see what they have to say, and find out what the Alberta model is all about. What do you think about, obviously what Alberta's doing is quite a bit different than British Columbia. Here they talk a lot about recovery first treatment, or BC the focus is more on, you see decriminalization, destigmatization, and also basically putting opioids in vending machines and things like that.
I think it's a terrible idea. From my perspective and from everybody that I work with, I know that when I was homeless and addicted to drugs, right, the best ideas that I could come up with at that time got me homeless and addicted to drugs. I needed direction, I needed guidance, and I didn't know how to get out, and so I've just accepted that. So if you would have asked me what I needed back then to improve my situation, I would have told you $20.
It's funny, earlier we saw some protesters outside, and I'm from British Columbia, so you see BC going in almost the exact opposite direction.
Well, some of the people that I work with and the clients that we have at the center, they're very vocal on those programs. You will never get a more honest person than somebody that's entering into early recovery, and a lot of what they're saying is those programs would have kept me in addiction. If it's unmonitored and I can do whatever I want with those pills, I would have sold them for what I wanted, or I would have, done whatever. I would have used more, or still using those dangerous street drugs. So I do believe that there is a way to do it, and it definitely should be medically monitored for sure.
And how important do you find the treatment and the rehabilitation is in your cultural context versus some people that think it should be more just handing out the free drugs or the safe supply?
Oh no, that's basically using our people as guinea pigs, or we don't want that. Why would you give somebody something to make them sick? We're supposed to be helping people. We're supposed to be helping people in recovery.
What do you say to people that say, this isn't an addiction crisis, it's just a poison drug crisis, and all we need is a safe supply, aka government manufactured and distributed supply of drugs, and that'll solve all the problems?
I would say that I got addicted to a safe supply of oxycodone after foot surgery. It's called a prescription. Okay? People have short memories. In the 1990s and the early 2000s, the United States had something called pain clinics, where you could walk in and you could get a month's supply of oxycodone prescribed to you, along with fentanyl suckers and all this stuff. And it totally perpetuated a huge drug crisis where over 20 million people in the United States got addicted to opioids. The number one thing that's most important to you and to anyone that's struggling with addiction is their drugs. Everything else is second after that. And I'm watching Alberta literally put 10,000 beds in this province alone, and just that alone makes me think of what we could do in California and how we could help our people that are struggling with addiction.
Now in Alberta, the first jurisdiction I think anywhere in North America, any Albertan, any time of day, anywhere you live, free of charge with no wait list, can receive treatment on demand, right? And that is unbelievable. Thank you very much.
How'd the conference go?
I think it went fantastic. I mean, we had 1,300 people from across North America. 50% of them were Indigenous, which is amazing participation.
And it seemed like there was a lot of positivity and optimism in the room. Is that the sense that you got as well, that there's a lot of people that are really hyped up about what's happening in Alberta?
Yeah, it was incredibly optimistic. The amount of learning that was going on here was unbelievable. The amount of connection between people and hugging, and it really is the spirit of recovery.
And how about, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of excitement, I think, around what's being called and what you called the Alberta model. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and why people are so passionate and excited about what it means?
I think the Alberta model represents a shift in philosophy, one that moves away from a theory or a prevailing conversation where people in addiction just need to be kept safe where they are while they're using drugs, and one that shifts to a much more comprehensive system of care, a holistic care continuum that is really inspirational. That's what the Alberta model is really about.